Good afternoon. This is Amber from the Lloydminster Cultural Science Centre. I'm joining you today from our studio, and we thought we'd do something a little different today. I'm going to do a figure drawing tutorial, and I would love for you guys to join along. What I'm going to do is talk a little bit about man versus woman proportions and how to draw the face. I'll talk about the basics to make something look human, really. There are certain proportions that all humans follow. So let's just start out with the face. I have one oval started here. So heads aren't perfect circles and they aren't perfect ovals either. Think of them as egg-shaped, with the tapered at the end, at the bottom, and obviously it varies depending on the person and the angle that you're seeing him or her from. But let's just begin with straightforward and an egg. So this is going to be my male, and over here we'll do our female. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do basic oval. I like to hold my pencil back a little bit when I'm doing the sketches, and you're going to start off really light. I'm just using a regular HB pencil. Start off really light, and we're going to do basic shapes, and then we'll get into details. We're going to press a little bit harder, but just to start off, we just want something that we can erase. So the eyes are always, and that's something that a lot of beginner drawers get wrong at the beginning. They like to place the eyes high on the head. But actually, if you look closely, the human eye is about midway through the face. So I drew, I just used a regular ruler, and I drew 6 inches, ends up with 7 sections here. And to figure out where my midline is, you can do that, especially when you're first starting. It's nice to have a guideline. So midway is here, and that's where my eyes are going to lie. I also did a little bit of a line to figure out the center. I'll do the same with the female. Alright. So with eyes, you gotta imagine that they span across, there's about 5 eyes here. So imagine there's an eye here, there's an eye here, and there's an eye here. So there'll always be the width of 5 eyes across the face. So my real eyes are going to be here, but I'm just kind of figuring out where I'm going to place these eyes. So I'm just going to start with a circle, my iris here, and remember, we're drawing really light because you want to be able to erase these lines as you define your person. So the eyes, you can make them any shape you want. You can make them large, you can make them almond shaped eyes. I'm going to do the eyes and then just the cover of the eye, and we'll go from there. So perhaps his eyes are a little big. Okay, so we fast forwarded a little bit with the eyes for the female. I'm going to now go right to the jawline. So with the male and the female, they're going to have a little bit of a difference. Women, once you do the egg shape, that's pretty close to what the jawline is going to look like. We would want to maybe define it a little bit here. Their cheeks will go in a little bit, but with the male, it's a little bit different because their jawline's more angular. So you're going to come down a little bit right here, just from where that natural line goes, and angle, and then their chin is a little flatter on the bottom. And I mean, you can play with the jawline because everyone's jawline is a little bit different, but this is a general idea. We got the rounded, more soft facial features of the female and the more angular of the male. Let's go on to the ears. So what you do is you draw a line that runs above the top of the eyes, all the way across the base. And draw another line that goes across the face at around halfway point between the eyes and the bottom of the jaw. So because I have my midline here, I'm gonna go right about here. It should be the same. I can use my ruler. It should be the same on the male and the female. Right. Where the top of the eyes are. Here. That may seem a little drastic, but our ears are actually quite big. Starting here, we're just gonna do a little bit of a semicircle here. And then it comes out right about halfway. We got the lobe. And the inside ear. There. So we won't quite define this yet, so I'll get into defining afterwards, but that's the basic shape of an ear. So when we get to our nose, that should sit right above the line that runs from the bottom of one of your ears to the other one. Noses do vary a lot with width, so keep in mind that you can change and play with that. So I can have a big schnoz here, nose, or a small one. What we're going to do is this is the tip of the nose. Right in the middle, you're going to just draw a little tip. And with the female, I'll draw a tip here too. And then we have the nostril portion. I'm just going to have a little bit more of a button nose, a little less pointy. And then you just want to identify the line right about here. And there's one here. She needs a bigger nose. So that's why you're drawing light right now, so you can adjust your proportions, change what you want your person to look like as you go. Okay, so now we get to the lips. All right, so halfway between the earlobes and the jawline. So, as my earlobes went down from here, I'm gonna go right here. All right, so that's where the placement is going to go. That's where the bottom of the lip goes. And with the female. Think of each corner of the mouth extending to the point where it lines up with the iris. So here's our iris, and we're gonna go straight down from there. So that's about where our lips are gonna stop. Same with the female. There's just a lot of small tweaks between a male and a female. All right, so then I will, from here, you can make them more rounded, a little bit more full. So with the female, maybe I'll make fuller lips, and with the male, I'll make thinner lips. And right at the center of the nose, that's where there's a little bit of a dip. And then the points kind of come down. A little pointier on the female, a little less pointy on the male, but that can change from person to person. Then we have a little line in the middle. So it's not just straight, it's actually kind of a little bit of a bump we have right here. And then kind of curves towards the tip of the lips. Oops. All right. Okay, so then eyebrow placement. We're just going to figure out where the eyebrow will start. So eyebrows come in different widths, thicknesses, and styles, but they generally are wider than the eye below. They also tend to be the thickest towards the bridge of the nose. So we identified our bridge right here. And they taper to the sides. Just remember, depending on how you shape your eyebrows, that can show expression. So for example, if I kind of had his eyebrows going down a little bit like this, he starts to look scared. Or if I angled them up like that, it would be more surprised. So what I'm going to do, just for the sake of practice, we're just going to do a normal eyebrow, which is fairly flat. Just going to draw a line indicating it slightly curved, but nothing too drastic. And then so it's going to be thicker here, all the way over to here. I'm going to tweak it a little bit. With the male versus the female, their necks start at different spots. So with the male, your neck is going to start fairly close to your jawline and going down. And with the female, they tend to have a thinner neck, so maybe from the eye down. We can play with some hair. Note that your hairline will usually start around the top of your ears. So if you have your ears a little here, so your hair is going to start about here. Oh, we didn't draw ears for this girl, so let's do some ears for her. Alright, so she's going to have her hair starting here. And then we're going to have the top of the hair starting quite high. Really depends on how big you want their forehead to be. Some people's hairline might start down a little bit lower. So now that we have our basic shapes, I can go ahead and do some defining and really make that character come alive. So I'll speed through that a little bit. can do some tweaks here and there, and mind you, I haven't drawn a face in a while, so I was readjusting my proportions as I went, and please know that's normal for everybody to change some things as you go. I might end up changing her nose a little bit too. We'll see how it goes.